Well, throughout this Advent season, we have talked a lot about fear. We have examined how fear can grip our hearts and cloud our vision. As we gather today on Christmas Eve, the night when we celebrate the good news of Jesus' birth, I would like to reflect a little bit into the interplay, the relationship between fear and good news. Is fear louder than good news? I ask. Well, we have a golden retriever. We absolutely love him. I think I'm going to show you a picture of him. Yes. He is 11, and as he ages, we are always concerned about his health and his well-being overall. So, but also there are days when we just can't resist watching videos of golden retrievers being silly. I am sure if you had a cat, you have your feed full of videos of cats being silly, or a corgi, your feed being full of corgis being silly. And these videos always just bring a smile to our faces. And the other day, I found myself scrolling through Instagram and, soaking in a brief moment of lightheartedness. And as I watched a video of puppies playing, but then just a few seconds in, I felt a wave of joy wash over me, and I was thinking this is exactly what I need right now. But then after a few clips, my feed began to shift. Suddenly, I was inundated with videos about dog training techniques, grooming tips, and then warnings about toxic foods for dogs. So what began as innocent fun quickly spiraled into a series of videos that felt far less lighthearted. I found myself caught watching clips that portrayed alarming scenarios of what might happen to my dog if I didn't feed him with the right things. And worst, I was very afraid that my dog would suffer the consequences of our improper care. So I was just about to hit buy now to these things that they were selling when my phone died. And then, only then, I was able to stop and think, wait, this doesn't feel okay. Only then I was able to see that I was caught into the algorithm of fear. And it was just astonishing how quickly I went from joy to anxiety. And I was not even aware of how all of this was happening, how all of these videos and warnings and threats were just tapping into my instincts, how the love and joy I have for my dog was being used to create anxiety and uncertainty and fear. And the thing is that today, this fear algorithm is everywhere. We live in a world where fear is being used to keep us uncertain, creating a sense of scarcity, creating a sense of threat, making us believe that there's never enough, that you're never enough, that the world is a dangerous place, and that we must constantly be vigilant, constantly performing, constantly anxious in order to survive and maintain the status that we have and the status that our loved ones have. Just turn on the TV, scroll the feed, glance at the headlines, and you will see that fear spreads quickly and echoes loudly and lingers long. Actually, studies have shown that it takes 5 positive messages to outweigh 1 negative message. Fear is sticky. It clings. And that is why some people and some systems use it. Astonishingly enough, over 2,000 years ago, when social media didn't exist, Rome operated on exactly this principle. The empire created scarcity through taxation and exploitation, leaving people with a sense that they could never be secure. They could never relax the vigilance. They could never stop fearing what Rome might demand next, and this kept people afraid and compliant. And this is where the Christmas story becomes truly revolutionary. The birth of Jesus is a direct and deliberate interruption of that algorithm of fear. A baby infant, an infant born, a cute, vulnerable, defenseless baby appears in the scene, and with him, the grip of fear and anxiety loosens. What an interesting contrast. Because while Rome was screaming very loud, obey, be compliant, or face the consequences, God, through a baby, was claiming trust, love, and care. Is fear greater than good news? 2,000 years ago, good news was brought to the shepherds, to the lowly, to Mary and Joseph, who were displaced. The announcement of love and solidarity entered the very place where fear and confusion reigned. A radical promise that God refused to remain at a comfortable distance. 2,000 years ago, God did not send instructions or blessings from afar. He came, he himself came, took on flesh, entered into the algorithm of fear that Rome had created. Last year, my husband and I decided that we wanted to counter all the commercial Christmas frenzy swirling about our son, and we wanted to teach him what the season was all about. So we sat down at the kitchen table with Nicholas in the middle of December, and we began the project of assembling a cardboard cutout nativity scene. So there was a stable, a manger, baby Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Sheep, cows, shepherds, and the Magi. Fold on the dotted line the directions said. Place tab A into slot B, etc. Well, easier read than done, of course, and within a few seconds, it was a disaster. Nothing worked as intended. Nothing looked like the picture in the box. We had all but taken over and feared no better than our 5-year-old partner. The kitchen table was littered with torn, bent, spineless figures just wilting over the place. Pieces were frayed and taped together, and Felipe, my husband, in frustration, was close to clearing the table and trashing the whole thing. And then little Nicholas was less than impressed. So surveying the scene on the table, he, the 4-year-old who was supposed to be learning the real meaning of Christmas, asked, "So, Daddy, where is God in all this mess?" And I think that's a very accurate question in our world today. This Christmas memory just remains the Advent question. Where exactly is God in all this mess? Somewhere, someone set up last night, a long-time dedicated employee whose job was eliminated before the end of the fiscal year, and he is asking, where is God? Somewhere, a spouse grips the hand of their beloved one awaiting news of a diagnosis, and they wonder, where is God? Somewhere, a family gathers around the bed of a loved one at the end of their long journey, and they wonder, where is God in the midst of this loss? Somewhere, someone is opening the paper and reading news about immigrants and maybe fearing for their husbands and children and asking, where is God in all of this? Our Advent claims is that God is right here in the middle of the mess with us. Right here in the middle of the fear with us. Because God has a long history of interrupting systems of fear and systems of chaos. He did it 2,000 years ago with a baby, and he does it over and over again. The fear used to control people could not ultimately compete with the love of Christ, which spread through communities. And today, when fear seems to speak louder than good news, Emmanuel, God with us, interrupts again. 2,000 years ago, a year ago, a month ago, last night, tonight, love so powerful that spreads through communities, through streets, through families, through groups of friends, coming together and embodying love just as Jesus did. Let me read some of the headlines in some newspapers, which might not be very common. A local community in Greensboro hosts a fundraising to provide legal aid for immigrant families. Civic groups mobilize to provide warm meals to families affected by job loss. Pride Month celebrations see record participation and support from allies. Community in Cumberland comes together to build tiny homes for the homeless. Community Garden Initiative in Sanford provides fresh produce to low-income families. Is fear louder than good news? Friends, 2,000 years ago, God did not wait until the world was ready, until people and nations were at peace. He came when the heavens were unsteady and prisoners cried out for release. He did not wait for the perfect time. He came when the need was deep. And we cannot wait until the world is sane to raise our songs with joyful voices in a world where fear wants to claim the last word. Jesus came into our world proclaiming love. Rejoice, rejoice, because love is running in the street. Yes, fear is real, but love is on the loose. Emmanuel, God with us, God with skin, God who pitched God's tent and lived among us, is here, among us, with us, and within us. In the food distributions, in the long shifts at the hospitals, in and with the loving teachers who love their students, in and with the nurses who are not home today, but are in the hospitals, in and with the ones organizing a meal train for someone sick, in and with the ones who drive to pick someone whose car broke down, in and with each one of us sitting down here. And today we are called to celebrate the good news that entered our world. Since that love, his love has entered the world, and it's on the loose, and it's on the move. I wonder, is fear louder than great news? I don't think so, because we are here. We are here in one another, proclaiming that the world can be different, and the world is different, because Jesus decided to enter it and to bring light and to bring hope and to bring joy. right in the middle of chaos, right in the middle of fear. And we are invited to join him, to embody that love and to come to our homes and be transformed and choose to act differently and to be coming to our neighborhoods and pick to love those neighbors who maybe like we say they're like grumpy and never say hello. We are called to do that, to embrace and to follow Jesus into what he did, to be love in the flesh, in our homes, in the micro, and also in the macro, in the world outside. Love is louder than fear. Let us celebrate that, and let us celebrate that he has entered the world and he has changed everything. Amen.